Hello, welcome to this week's weekly transits, astrology transits. And well, we kind of start out, we got a kind of an interesting week. I mean, all weeks are interesting, right? But we start out with this. Oh, let me back up a little bit. I wrote on the side, I found a cool function here. We are coming into a full moon week. Near the end of the week, we'll be coming into, once we get the moon is now in Aries, it's going to be moving into um, it'll Taurus, and then it'll go into Gemini, and then it'll be the full moon will be near the end of Gemini. I wrote it's at 23 degrees Gemini. And then we also have Mercury going direct this week. And we also have this interesting mystic rectangle. I think we talked about that a little bit before, but we'll kind of kick that off because that's an interesting formation that's going to kind of be in for a little while because the moon nodes are at this degree and Pluto is not moving anywhere fast. And then we have Mars at the other end, which is not moving anywhere fast at the moment either. So we've got this interesting mystic rectangle where we have planets that are trine, and then we have the moon nodes, which are those are opposite, right? So there should be opposite here, but I took that out because they're in opposition always. And then we have sextile from the node to a planet, and then the node to a planet. So a very interesting configuration. Um, and we have this almost opposition here, total opposition. I mean, you can see, look at here between Mars and Venus, and then Mars and Pluto also. It's like close. I mean, we're within orb. So we have still the two malefics um, in an opposition, Mars and Pluto, but then Venus just went over, so it's a little bit buffered, but then it's in, Pluto is in a sextile with North Node and trine with South Node. So it's in a nice position with, um, well, how would I say it? With kind of with destiny or with power. And then Mars on the other side, it's in trine with North Node and sextile with South Node, just the opposite. But this is very interesting. Um, it could play out in many ways. I mean, this is we've got cardinal signs. Well, we got fire, fire, and air and air. We got air and fire is part of that. So we could have a conflagration of things. We could have a firing up. We could have, um, Mars and Pluto. It could not be really well. It could go against, how do I say it? I don't like to be negative, but I still have to point out the obvious. We do have two malefics there, and they are um, we do have global tensions that are rapidly heating up. More dogs are joining the fight. Let's just put it that way. And that's not a good thing. Um, Although there is an ease with Pluto in the North Node, moving toward that destiny. I don't know if that's going to lessen it or make it easier to move into that. And then Mars, sextile to the South Node. So anything to the South Node is where energy is going out. So we could have drama going out, things from the heart going out. Um, and we've got from the Leo fixed fire to cardinal air. So there's this sustained kind of a passion that is like boiling or that's there, in Mars. But then it's retrograde, and then it's going to retrograde back to its detriment. It's going to go into detriment. Right now, it's in a sister sign, so it has strength, and it's kind of holding its weight there. And it's starting to, Venus is also getting closer to oppose Mars this week. So we got to have a real intense dynamic with that. Within all that, we have this trine, this kind of grand trine energy kind of happening. We got the North Node over to Mars, Mars over to Mercury, the Sun over to Chiron exactly. So we have, and then Mercury is its retrograde. Well, we can still put it in orb over to North Node as well, because that's only 4 degrees off. And then the moon just went over that. So the moon was then, as it was going through Aries, was kind of igniting all this. So it's probably been a very dynamic time. Maybe I mean, we've got the good and then the frustrating, and at the same time, we've got, those trines and sextiles, but we have that opposition there with Mars and Venus coming in, and then Mars with Pluto. It's getting past that, but it's going to go back over that. Remember, we had it once, and then as it's retrogrades, as it gets closer to zero, it'll go again exactly, retrograde back, and then come back the third time. I think we talked about that last week. All right, so that is the dynamic tensions coming into this week. On Tuesday, we still have the moon moving through Aries. Oh, I mean, that's today. Let me go over here. I'm going to go Wednesday. It's not doing it. Hold on. Why can't I do that with this pen? So I can't do it. Maybe. Darn. Can't click on it with that pen thing. Wow. Okay. Learn something new. All right. Coming into tomorrow, moon moves into Taurus. That's where it's exalted. Remember, the moon is at home in Cancer, and then it's exalted in Taurus. And I almost think it likes it better. It can be moody in Cancer, it can be defensive, but it can chill in Taurus. It can just relax. So enjoy this next 2.5 days. Um, we do have a lot of squares and square and a half and energy in here too. We can see I left these in here. The sun and Mars, square and a half. There's a little frustration there. And then Mars over to the moon. The moon will quickly go through. So, tomorrow, if you get this little power struggle or power trips, just take some breaths. The moon will pass that, and then it'll get out of that tension it'll have with Mars and the sun. So the moon, Mars and the sun are our buddies here, in fire signs, and then the moon over here in Earth, it gets to be like baked Earth here. So just chill, don't get too rocked with everything, with all that fire. Stick to that just calm, cud chewing, uh, relaxation kind of energy. Chill, meditate, remember to breathe. That's very, very important. Get some stability, get grounded. If it's cold where you live and you can't put feet on the earth, you can have a warm bath, with Epsom salts. You can make sure that you're well hydrated and mineralized, having mineralized, make sure you have your minerals. Kukicha teas, high in minerals. Cherry minerals from longevity, cherry tasting minerals from those deep mine minerals, minerals from those deep mines. Epsom salts. Make sure that you've got a good salt. I like Redmond's real salt or Himalayan salt, in your diet. Salty broths, soups, really nourishing things are good to do for the next 2.5 days. Keeping that groundedness. Now, the moon, as it goes through Taurus, will go over Uranus. Every month here, it's, until it changes side. Well, it's always going to go over it every month, but it will go over it in Taurus. So there could be some little shakeup of stability, financial things, security, Taurian kind of issues. You might forget where you hid your chocolates, things like that. So anyway, otherwise, that's kind of mainly moon aspects tomorrow. As we go into Thursday, that's when we have our Venus, well, just the day before, actually. You can see that, this gets messy, all this stuff in here. But anyway, you can see Venus is going pretty quick. It's at 5 degrees, and then it will flip in a day. Look at that, Mars. Wow, they switch. Venus moves to 6, and then Mars moves back to 5. Here, let's just do a few hours. Let's see if we can get it exact. This is kind of fun. There they are. All right. It's 7:30 p.m. East Coast time when they're more or less exact, they're opposite. So, this dynamic here, this is medically astrologically speaking, this is the axis of heart and veins. So everybody make sure that your circulation is good, you're hydrated, you're not overstimulating yourself, you're not pushing without eating. Um, you're supporting your nerves, your heart, plenty of magnesium, potassium, B vitamins for the heart valve conduction. Vitamin E is really a must as well to keep those B's, the full complex of B's and E's are so good for heart valves, heart muscle, making sure you have enough protein because this energy, this push pull here is straining to the heart and circulatory system. And then, Mars is going to be over there. It's in conflict with Pluto as well. So, and then as we have the lovers in conflict here, that could raise those issues as well. Also, Leo has to do with the back. Could have, people could have more subluxations, more neck, back issues out of place, irritations because it is in Leo. So just make sure that you're not doing something too strenuous or you don't do something stupid like lift something or reach something really weird, and throw something out. Venus in Aquarius, it's kind of it's in that air sign. It's in strengthening the veins, actually. Copper, Venus is rules copper. Women have 30% more copper as little babies when they're born. We need to maybe have more copper in our bodies, less iron. Very, very important for vein integrity, especially varicosities, any kind of varicosities in veins, support with the full vitamin C, family, rutin, copper to strengthen the veins. Um, horse chestnut uh, and horse chestnut salves are really, really good for veins. So this isn't important when it's fast, with Venus and Mars, but it's intense. And, we got Mars continuing here with Pluto. So that's why I kind of emphasize this a bit because this could be problematic for some people, especially if you have things at that degree or if you're letting some of these issues go out the window. Nutritional support, very important. Um, the sun, and moon, they make a square and a half. Moon is going to be square over to Mars. So this could be kind of an intense day. And then Mars square and a half over to the sun. So we have some gnarly, aspects in here. All right, moving on into Thursday. That should be maybe a little bit better. We have, the moon halfway, going halfway. It's about ready to go over Uranus later in the day. It's 7:30 East Coast time, so it'll probably be closer, to midnight-ish, and into the next day. West Coast will feel it in the afternoon, late in the afternoon there. Oh, what else is going on here? Mercury and Mars. So I got that Mercury Thursday. Yeah, is a trine. Where is it? So we have right there. 5 degrees, and Mercury's, it's getting closer. See, Mercury is still retrograde, but it's interesting. Mercury is going to retrograde back to 6 degrees and it won't perfect because Mars is moving backward here too. So they're both moving backwards. Mercury's slowing down, so it won't perfect exactly. Mars is already past that point. It's 5 degrees. Mercury's going to turn direct at 6, but it's still close. Okay, it's still a real nice trine. And then Mercury's also going to sextile over to Venus. So Mercury might be a little go-between here, communicating to Venus, communicating to Mars, the Sagittarian energy. This is also kind of interesting. Whenever I see Mercury in Sag, it's like exaggerating, fibbing, telling the truth, telling untruths, outright lies. So just kind of watch for that because there's like maybe an ease of lying here, an ease to maybe to avoid conflict. Um, words might be you might there might be some misrepresentation of things. Let's just put it that way. You might tend to, or somebody might do it to you, or it might be in the collective, in the world. So watch that as well. Might be easy to fall into that trap. Let's look at Neptune. It's not totally in with that mix. Just a little bit, we have a square over to the sun. As the sun is getting closer, it will, make more of a square to Neptune. So it could be, we could have, the sun has got a big orb. So there could be some of that tendency for that misrepresentation. All right, we can micro, but anyway, sun double quincunx, we're coming into as the sun, you can see as it's moving more toward 24 degrees, you'll see this line get fatter. It will be in an odd conversation with both the moon and Uranus. It's just like, we got mutable fire over with fixed earth. It's like sun wants to go, wants to be enlivened, lively, and then we have the moon and Uranus is stuck at home. Uranus is not happy being there, so it kind of likes the little riled upness maybe of Sagittarius, because it's more outward kind of energy, but it's had to have its 7 years stuck into an earth sign. It's kind of not been happy. So anyway, there may be some unexpected issues with security, unexpected things with things you like or want, or money or love, or something you're not seeing eye to eye on, or it's kind of a bit of not being on the same page. And that may ensue all week, because it may start on Thursday as the moon crosses over here, and then it may get worse as the sun gets closer to Uranus, or more, I should say intensify. That'd be better. Friday the 13th. Interesting. What else is going on here? Well, we got the moon opposing Mercury. So, Mercury likes, to be where the moon is. Moon doesn't like either, it can be edgy and irritable and uptight and nervous kind of energy. Mars, a nice trine over to Mercury, so here we could have information, energy for communication, energy to think beyond, to communicate beyond, maybe to get back with friends or people, acquaintances, or maybe make that connection or make that call, or connect with something. Maybe there'll be some kind of connections, or something of the fire nature, some kind of an inspiration that may come up and ignite. There we go. That's a good word. So things, if they're at those early degrees, check that, and then here the moon at that time, it will kind of click in and make this nice sextile, but it will also oppose that communication. It'll be, you may be a little community, might be like timid or afraid to take that step, or maybe a little hesitate, but sometimes that's good, just to look to, you gotta look left, look right, look left again kind of energy. Yeah, and then Mercury's retrograde, you'll see now it'll probably get the little S when I move it here, yeah, to Saturday. It's stationed now. So look, this energy is pretty tight. This is there for days. Look at Mars is going really slow. Mercury's almost stopped totally. So this is there. Usually this type of a transit is quick, because Mercury moves fast, but we've seen it's like all week. Really nice. Well, again, we could have that drive to communicate. We could communicate with foreigners. We could have drama about something over there, which is, Sagittarius is over there, shiny object syndrome. What else would it be? Grass is always greener. But still, the fire trine, is very lively and very lively for the mind. Maybe there'll be interest in new things. um, other cultures, things beyond your normal realm. So this is kind of cool. And look at, we still have our mystic rectangle. Look, I tell you, it's not going to go away a little bit. Some of these energies are burning in, and then here the sun, as we get closer, to Uranus the next day, it will perfect. So we could have again something unexpected here, out of the norm happening near the end of the week, especially if you have anything at 24, 23, 24 degrees. What else here? We just had there's our I have the moon. Actually, it was just before. No, it's just after that. I have to do it Sunday. Let's see. Let's do hours. See when the moon perfects. 23, there it is. So I have Sunday morning at 3:30 Eastern time when we have our full moon. You can see here. Um, wish I had it there. Maybe if I go back a couple minutes, because the orb goes off to get it there for you. There it is. Okay. All right. It's still there. It should be a thick line, but nonetheless. Um, here's our full moon. 23 degrees Gemini. Um, the moon, I mean, the sun has just gone, it's almost on Uranus. So this is interesting. So the sun is stressed this day. I mean, it's not only full moon, but it's in this is quincunx over to Uranus. So this is a little bit of a stress, a little bit of um, I don't want to say frustration and headache, but kind of, it's in a funny spot. So just, enjoy the Sagittarian part of that. You know, I think when the Sagittarius and the uh, Gemini polarity is kind of similar. We've talked about this many times. There's some polarities like Pisces and Virgo, which are totally opposite. I mean, one is a slob and one is a neat freak. One is spaced out and the other is taking notes and paying attention. With with Gemini and Sag, they're about the same. They're chaotic, they're outward, or they're, information crazy overload, but Gemini is more inward, is more of a inward communications, where Sagittarian is more outward. So we maybe have this push-pull with that on this full moon. Um, it's kind of restless, it's kind of lively. So maybe get into the restless and lively part of that. And then we also have our Mercury. Still, see, look, it's still stationed here. It's still stopped in space from our perspective. And it'll head direct by next day. Mystic rectangle still in there. So this is kind of our themes here. It's one more day. There it is. All right, and it's still stationary. Look at it. It doesn't really turn direct. Let's see. There, it's still stationary. It's probably late on Monday that it actually then starts heading direct. So planets again, when they're stationary, they're still, they're strong. They're not moving. They're burning in that degree. So it's very, very intense things at this degree. What else? Other things that I have for you. Told you about that. Told you about that. Cancer moon. Um, Cancer moon, moon is in its own sign, as we come into next week. And again, it's like moody too. So, it tends to be moody or things cyclic, because it is the moon's own place to be. Uh, Things could be returning, it's cyclical nature. So Cancer moons, more patriotic, more of the home, more pampering, more defensive, of the home, of family. Um, So we got that kind of moon we're moving into. But the day before, again, the full moon is, more information, more liveliness, the push-pull of inner and outer, restlessness, lots of information. It might be a chaotic, busy, dizzying time. That being said, enjoy the week, stay safe, and more to follow. Thanks for listening. Bye for now.